Anyway, let's get to it, son.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do, you know. Welcome everybody to Kasson Avenue. Cut it like that, you know what I mean?
Straight like that.
This is episode number 177. I'm your host, Adam, here with my brother Osama, and the dog is also here laying down out of frame, because obviously we don't show you everything you like to see anymore. Today, we're going to take the show into a deep dive, right?
I mean, sure.
Take into a wormhole. Take you into.
I don't think the wormhole is where you want to go. The wormhole is how you like.
The wormhole might already be where we're at.
I mean, that's what. What do you mean? Like what
There's
we're going to talk
theories
about?
that the Earth has been sucked into a black hole already. Anyway, before we get to all that,
That's what she said.
you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like us, follow us, tell your friends. If you are watching the show and you are one of them people who like sneakers, check out our Kasson Ave show after this. You know.
Not directly after this.
Well, no. But I mean, it's
we
on
recorded after this.
Yeah, and there's a playlist. It's called Kasson Ave.
Yeah, because like technically this is Tuesday, and the show comes out Saturday.
Well, technically this is Sunday, but the show will come out on Tuesday.
All right,
They already know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it. So,
All right, we're gonna explore the wonders of the world.
Right. Well, you don't got to.
Well, one of the
like
oldest.
that. All right, come on. We're not Morgan Freeman narrating a doc. Anyway, so this all started from me recently, just kind of jumping into like the pyramids of the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Firstly, right. That we're talking about was because that's like the primary focus of what I was watching. But then just in general, all of the similarities between just pyramids across the damn world, right? So what I found...
How many pyramids are there?
Periods are there? There's like once a month.
How many pyramids across the world are there?
A lot. But like there's like at least 4 or 5 different places where they are like eerily... Like a lot of the technology and all of this is like very similar. But they're all based on... But they what their theory is, a lot of them were like around there in a different time. You know, like maybe not all simultaneously. But anyway, so... The thing about the pyramids, right, is that these rocks are all perfectly cut and aligned and sit together so perfectly that you can't even fit a razor blade through them, right? Now, a lot of archaeologists...
Well, it's also important to say they're not just like rocks; they're limestone.
Well, limestone, and then also there's granite. So,
but the majority of it is limestone. So
but there's a lot of granite rock that's been cut. Like a lot. They say
there's not a lot. not in comparison.
Well, the thing is, comparison or not, I think. Let me see. I want to look up how many actual stones. I'm sorry, because rocks make it seem like I can kick it. No, you can't. Can I?
You probably.
I was gonna say you could have played.
No, that's for the other one.
I know, but it would have been perfect.
No, you don't want them to be intertwined.
All right. How many stones are in Egypt? So in the Great Pyramid, there are more than 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks, right? That they say, were pushed, pulled, and dragged into place in the Great Pyramid. The average weight of a block is about 2.3 metric tons. Now, let me explain something to you. There are actual stones that are hundreds, even like close to like 1,000 or so. There's one I think they talk about that's like 2,000 tons. Let me look up how much 2,000 tons are for you, okay? Just so you get an idea. I think here we are, 2,000 tons. It's in my thing. And now I don't know. It says it's 4,409,245 pounds is what 2,000 tons is. 4 million? How the fuck do you drag, push, or pull?
Now, is that tons like tons, or is it like TONNES? Because I don't think those are the same thing, you know?
Tons?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's one of the units of measure that they use.
Tons. Yes. TONS.
Yes, and then they also use TONNES.
Tones?
Tonnes? I don't know.
That's not a thing. I think you're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
I don't know what.
Anyway, listen.
Research for this, but I think
I just
you
googled
did
it
a
right. I just
wrong
googled
job
it right
here.
now. I just googled it. There's no tones. Anyway, so
you used
listen,
the wrong
we're
Google.
sidetracking here. So The thing is about these stones, more than
another term for metric
more than
ton, so
anything,
I don't know
more
what
than
you
any,
looked
so it's
up.
another term, same thing.
don't know.
So listen, the thing about a lot of these stones are they come from like hundreds and like up to like 1,000, and I don't know the kilometer to mile conversion, but they use kilometers that far away, right? So how the fuck? All I want to understand is they say that a lot of like conventional, I guess, archaeologists, but what do they call them? The like who are like with degrees and things like that. The conventional, like actual, doctorates and things of that nature.
Right.
They say that these guys, a lot of them will not even entertain it. They won't entertain the idea that this didn't happen by way of just brute like human force, like pulleys and fucking hammers and what's it called? Fucking picks and this is what they say that they were able to do. Some of these fucking stones are as flat as this surface. Like it's crazy that they would say how? Explain you tell me. You tell me.
First of all, I think we need to slow this down a little bit here.
No,
You're
I
getting
can't.
a little
There's
too excited. You got to calm down.
It's too much. You're denying history.
You got to calm down. You got to slow it down a little bit.
Right.
We've had commentary talking about we just assume everybody knows. Just shut up for a second.
Okay, listen. I need you.
So basically, to give you a little bit of what we're talking about, if you don't know
Dude,
already,
if you don't know about the pyramids,
you can just get the
fuck out. Okay,
the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. They're like right outside of Cairo, right?
Yeah.
They were. I have a little bit of information, right? They were constructed in 2570 BC.
Right, that's what they say.
Long ass fucking time ago.
That's what they say.
In a town called Kickapoo.
That's what they say, but they're trying to decipher if that is the right date or not.
Well, yes, but this is the working theory that
I know. I'm just gonna say
right
that's so. As everything you say, I'm just gonna say what science is starting to be debating on, right? And part of that is the actual time frame that everything played out.
Yeah. Then the material they say mainly limestone, mortar, and some granite. That's why I say granite is lesser than limestone in there.
What some is the thing?
I don't know,
right?
but they
is that 500,000 stones of granite that like all I'm saying is that's a lot of granite to move if you only have a pulley. Like, hey Adam, you gotta pull harder.
We don't know what they have, right? So it took around 27 years to construct this, and the theory is that it is a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu.
Yeah, but that's another.
But then they also have tried to like debunk the fact that it's a.
Yeah, they're not. They're saying there's almost no evidence for it to be a tomb. They're saying that it could be like functional.
Yeah.
Power plant type.
Well, they
shit.
found recently tunnels underneath the pyramids and shit like that.
Well, yeah, they're saying that they might all be connected because there's like 7, I think, pyramids in Cairo.
I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3. They have like a map layout. Yeah, because there's a few smaller ones.
I think there's 7 pyramids in Cairo. Now, they say that there's now theories because there's like ground penetrating sonar they use, and what they're finding is like, for instance, I was watching. There's actually something something catastrophe or something by one of these like really well-known scientists. Okay, I'm gonna look it up on Netflix so I can give you guys the thing. But there's like places in Mexico, right, that they're finding that are pyramids that are like underneath. They're like buried, right?
These were also like at some point
they had to take all of those out. I mean, they had to excavate everything. Now, they're just finding like tunnels and things. So there's this weird place that they find in episode 2 that there's no real evidence of much going on. There's just rocks there that, though they come from there, they've been stacked. Like, and their theory is it was a pyramid, right? Now, what they're using is that sonar, and they're finding like chambers that they find, like at different depths. Now, scientists, for the most part, like just like with the pyramids of Giza and all that, they're unwilling to accept some of these theories. My theory is that's because they're afraid that if somebody comes from a different place and finds something that was right underneath their noses the whole time, they're going to feel some sort of shame in the community of science, right? Because they're technically from academia and they know better than somebody who just has a little bit more sense or open-mindedness. You know, but go ahead and continue more. I just think it's super interesting to me. Like it really is at this point
Yeah.
because I feel like
Well, there's a lot to dive into when it comes to the pyramids.
if we were to find out what was actually the what was behind the pyramids, who built them, what they mean, what they're supposed to be used for, maybe something we can actually use to harness it as well. I think it changes the world pretty drastically.
Well, because there's something to like the way that they're built and what they're like aiming towards, like the tip of it.
Yeah, they say it's a power. It could have been a power plant, like a literal power plant.
Yeah. Well, there's all because when they're talking about,
I think it also could be a spaceship.
When they're talking about the theory of like the tomb, they're like, it's like basically everything is inside that will help prepare you for the afterlife, and the people who built it.
Like when they put you in there, they put you in there with everything that you would need to.
Yeah, like they prepare you for the afterlife. You're supposed to have like a higher elevation of afterlife because of the pyramid. Like there's like a whole lot of weird.
There's an issue there they're talking about because of the fact that they said as extravagant as they are, as beautiful, because they were built like they were almost completely like white or something like that. Because I guess I don't know what the stone is or how salty, whatever it is. So they said when you looked at it, it was reflective, like very reflective. They go into, they find like where one of the, I guess the head, I don't know, guy's tombs should be, and it's like a room that's like as boxy as this with nothing in it. Right, obviously there was probably things inside of it, but they're saying this is where you would bury him, and after all of this, you come in here and put him in this little room. So I don't think it was a tomb.
It's hard to say, man, because like again, like you're talking about, it's intricate inside, and there's like channels that lead to other shit.
I'm assuming
the intertwinedness of the like who knows.
I don't put it past to be like shit that was like in the movies The Mummy, where you press a certain rock and it slides you into some sort of different
You gotta
realm.
pull the right book on the shelf.
So here's what they say, right? Like, do you have anything else that's worth mentioning in there?
I mean, I was going to talk just a little bit about the size and construction of it.
Go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so they're saying that the height is 450 feet, somewhere between 450 and 480, and I think some of the corrosiveness over the centuries has
broken down
a little bit of that. But like, for as far as like all the monuments that were built, centuries and centuries and centuries like that ago, the corrosiveness hasn't done much damage to this in comparison. Because like much of it is still.
Well, I think limestone's fairly easily manipulated. Like I think you can break it down easily, right? I think it's not because there's like a scale of hardness, and they say granite is like at an 8.
But then if you're talking about 2570 BC, you know what I mean? Like the working knowledge here is that society has improved and technology has improved,
and that's what they're fighting.
Yeah,
or not fighting. That's what they're debating now. That maybe these people were a far more advanced society than we realized. And on top of that, in my idea, from what I can gather, they may have been more advanced than we are at this point, right?
Yeah.
There's a chance that all of this in some form or shape or fashion has existed to some extent for another society.
Yeah.
This is where the meat and potatoes comes, right? Because everybody's trying to figure out what happened, because apparently there was a humongous catastrophic event that took place, like a big wave or something a flood came through, and like,
well, that's the working knowledge about Africa and their deserts in general.
Yeah.
That it was like a freaking tropical paradise at some point, and then
I'm still learning about this, but yes, the world goes through cycles.
I got to give Joe Rogan some credit here, because a lot of the guests that he has on his show,
he has some really good guests.
People who are just like,
it's almost what I would like to turn this podcast into.
Yeah, we don't have any connections like he does, unfortunately.
Who knows, man? We may become like a.
Anybody watching know anything about excavating around the time of the pyramids?
That's what they're fighting, right? Dude, you want like some of the interesting parts about like the granite and things like that when they got it. If you go to these quarries, is it quarry? Quarrying? Yes, when you quarry a rock, is that how you say it? Anyway, when you go to these places, right, there are actual scoop marks in like granite, like a scoop you would scoop like ice cream, like just scooped straight out, like they scooped it straight out of the ground. Okay,
which would make me to believe they have like caterpillars.
Now, like the funny thing is, because how easy would that be? It wouldn't be. These
I don't think today is easy.
The scholars, dude, a lot of them are fighting the idea that they're like, no, that's not a thing. Right, like they're talking about how actually that they had to do it still with some sort of basic means, some sort of, something that can't be as advanced as us. Because I think I don't know why it seems like science is fighting that notion.
Yeah.
Well, now,
science,
I think we got to put this out there. Me and Adam are only talking about this is just stuff we've learned, and we are not the authoritative figures on this.
Just
at
exploring
all.
things.
Yeah, man. We're gonna start. Maybe this is what we start exploring. Just shit like this.
Yeah, because I mean, listen, science doesn't like to be. Science likes to deal in logic, right? Whatever you can prove, whatever, as Neil Tyson would say, whatever is objectively true.
Well, how can you? But the thing is, they're not able to prove,
and that's why everything is working theories right now when it comes to that.
But then, if it's working theories, then they got to accept new information and alter what you think.
Because when you're talking about the tons of pounds that these fucking slabs of limestone and everything weighed, they were basically saying that they use ramps to like pull them up and push them, whatever it took to get them up there.
They would say that you'd put like wooden planks down and somehow glide it across.
And so now you're talking about 450. We'll just use 450 as like a base of the height, right? And you had human manpower.
Yeah, you were pushing. How are you getting it? Maybe up.
Like that angle is ridiculous.
That's the issue when you start talking about tons being like in the thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. Yeah. Because I don't know how you get together. How can you make an apparatus at that time if you aren't advanced enough? Which I think at this point you got to really understand that
it's not like they had wheels and they had like they could use a.
This
dolly.
Is what they're saying. They didn't have wheels.
It's not like you can use a dolly to pull this shit up there.
But the thing is, they're saying if they were such a primitive society, right? How is it that we progressed so far? Right over and throughout I guess, how long has it been since the industrial revolution began? I don't know, 150 years or so, let's say.
Yeah, it's been
almost 200 years. I don't know, but even let's just say 200 years. We progressed so far. How vain and just fucking narcissistic as human beings are we that we would say that we've been around for so long that them being around for thousands of years, they couldn't have progressed as far, if not further, than we have during that time, and just through a cataclysmic event be wiped out, and unfortunately everything else be with them. You know what I mean?
Could certainly be the case. But again, I mean, like the main I guess argument when it comes to the pyramids is just how are they here? How are they constructed?
Well, yeah, but
because you're talking about
it's not necessarily construction only. A big portion of this is
what are you talking about?
No, dude, listen.
It's not like they just came from space and crash landed on there.
A big portion of this.
Could have.
A big portion of this is the whole process. So let me just say what I've been watching.
But the process is the construction of it.
You have to, but construction, I would say, in terms of putting it together, that's one thing. But even more so than that is what they discuss before that. So how do you get these rocks from so far away that weigh thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds?
Yes, but sourcing the materials also part of construction.
Okay, but I get it. But construction for me, I guess I break it down a little bit because it's even more nuanced than that. Because one, the transportation is one thing, but they've cut them out of fucking mountains. Right? Some of these, I guess, what they call monoliths and things, like really big rocks. Mm-hmm. But they cut them so perfectly. Okay, they're saying so part of it is
having just a hammer and a chip axe or whatever. Like
it's inadequate. It's not going to work. They say that they still have yet to cut through a granite stone like that, like they did with the technology they're stating you were able to.
Well, yeah, because any attempts they've made to like reconstruct. They can't do it today. Like it's impossible to do it today.
They don't have the technology to do what they did. So now we have to demean what they did. I don't think that's right, But
that's where all the conspiracy theories are coming into play.
Right? They burned.
Was it aliens?
What were you talking about earlier? The Library of Alexandria, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck was in that they burned to not have that knowledge go forward?
Well, there's a lot of things that we probably lost.
Dude, we probably
a lot of history.
I don't understand like humans.
Was all the information of the lost city of Atlantis in there as well? We can get into that in another episode.
Yeah, that'll be that's. You know what, man? We might be on a series here, but So, like, for instance, I was watching this guy. His name is he's got a YouTube channel actually, and I'm just gonna.
Doesn't everybody?
Well, I mean, some do, yeah, like we do too. Uncharted X is the name of the podcast or the channel. Sorry, and his name is Ben Van Kerkwick, right? He's like an Australian dude.
Ben Van.
But it's crazy because a lot of the guys, from what I understand, that are now becoming like kind of not authorities, but actual like validated voices in the community, I would say.
Okay.
They these guys he came from like IT or some shit, right? And just kind of became more and more entranced as
information technology IT.
Yeah. This guy. But he was talking about there's like a place in Egypt you can go and they give you like a hammer that like I guess is similar to what they say they were using, and you could just beat the shit out of a block of granite for as much as you like, and you're not getting anything out of this. It's like a 10-pound hammer, and like apparently you're not getting anything out of this granite. So what I'm saying is how they split it, Adam. So there's the pyramids fit perfectly. Right? Every block is perfect, and they all fit perfectly together, and you can't fit a fucking razor blade between them.
Well, it's also worth mentioning now that some of the quote-unquote corrosion is actually caused by tourists who are assholes who chipped off pieces.
Well, yeah, that
bring
and
home
people
with them and
people have been like again quarrying. Right?
I wouldn't consider that quarry.
No. Well, going to a quarry and
people can't leave shit alone. That's why we can't have nice things.
A rock formation, right? You come and you remove rocks from it. That's, I guess, technically it's
already a structure that was created from the rocks.
But the thing is, as time got on, right, went further, and people would be more removed from what the actual purpose is, and it's now this structure that you have no idea what it is, but there's no. You need the rocks because think about it. It's granite, it's limestone, and you can use these things for something else.
You're really sold on this fact that the granite is like the main part, huh?
No, but like there's a large portion of granite in these rocks. A lot of it. Like there's a good portion of where'd
you get that information? Because I feel like it's oversold.
Look up how much granite is in the pyramids. There's a lot of granite within that, man. And that's the problem. Like that's why they're asking what the fuck they did, because there's no way to do that. We're like you said, we're not able to go do what they did now. Yeah. So they're wondering how you can say that they did that then. Right? Were they gigantic folks where they were like able to just break things?
All right. So materials. The Great Pyramid consists of an estimated 2.3 million blocks, approximately 5.5 million tons of limestone, 8,000 tons of granite, and 500,000 tons of mortar were used in the construction. That's why I say,
what's 8,000 tons of granite? Look it up.
Well, there's 5.5 million tons of limestone.
Okay, but
and 500,000 tons of mortar.
I said it's relative because 8,000 tons is still a lot of tons of something.
Well, you said there's a lot. All right, whatever. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that there's not so much.
Okay, yes, limestone is a lot, right?
2 million.
But in the grand scale of like 8,000
compared to this.
Okay, tell me how much. Well, just look it up. What's 8,000 tons in your tonus or tons? Whatever you want to look up.
It has it listed as T-O-N-N-E-S.
But what they're saying is there's theories as to how they actually split these rocks. Okay, because they're perfect. They're fucking perfect. Okay, you got it.
I'm looking. Slow sometimes.
A little bit.
Not me, stupid.
So 8,000 tons.
16 million pounds.
So you tell me how to move 16 million pounds of granite, because granite's heavy and fucking extremely fucking tough.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not 2 million tons, but it's a lot. So their theory is
just say when you're wrong.
There's a couple theories. Well, I told you relative to like something else. 8,000 tons is a lot. Listen.
To a countertop, that's a big difference.
We only have so much. They even say how like difficult it is to cut a granite countertop as perfect as they do.
Yes.
Right? How the hell you do it? I guess they also talk about how in like rock formations, the deeper you go into, like the further down, right? I guess that's the more tougher or stronger you will get of like that particular stone. So like granite, I guess, when you go into like, let's say a mountainous range and you go deeper into the granite, you get better granite or stronger granite, I guess, when you go in. And that's where they've grabbed it from. And it's not like they were just like blow it up and grab what comes next. No, they cut what they wanted out of it. This is the good part right here. We want this.
They didn't have dynamite?
It's like when you get a steak. I want that ribeye, baby. Give me that bone-in ribeye.
Now, do you think the Flintstones were onto something, right?
No, they had no idea what they were. The Flintstones were after the whatever happened that wiped everybody out. The Flintstones were next. And that's why that's what we think.
So you think the Flintstones were after the pyramids were built?
I think
that's not accurate.
No, I'm thinking the Flintstones to me were after, like, because what they're saying is essentially something came, an asteroid or whatnot, and it created a humongous flood, right? That wiped everything out. They're talking about like a mile-high wave that just swept through the land, just destroying everything, right? And then they're saying that that's what happened, but eventually, obviously, because we're here, the civilization came back, and now
They said that people are like hiding in like depths of caves and shit.
yeah, but how many people can hide in the caves? Thousands, yes, but like
enough people to fuck and make us.
But the thing is, they're saying that wasn't the only one. We've had multiple cataclysms that have occurred that have ruined like have taken a large portion of the population. You know, so what I'm saying is there's obviously a reason we don't know who built or how they built the pyramids, because the facts are that at some point we lost there's a bridge that was blown up, literally like kaboom. They blew that bitch all the way up, because now we can't get across because we don't know what the fuck happened back then. Right? All we could say is,
we would have known if the damn library was
They
burned down.
couldn't be as smart as us. No, they can. Listen how human beings are stupid.
So basically,
They are the R word, if you will. Okay.
If you want to go off the theory that back then they were more primitive than us, then what you're saying is you could not have had human labor create these things.
Is that what you're asking me, or that's
This
what
is all like
you're
just
saying? They're
This is all just rhetorical things, right? So basically, like if they were primitive, they didn't have the technology we have of the modern world. That human labor could never have accomplished that successfully. We can't even do it today.
No. That's the argument.
So then you would have to say either there was some outside force that helped create these things, or their technology was far more advanced. We have.
Where do you lie?
I would love to believe that aliens exist. So I
believe that they do.
A lot of what they're talking about, like in terms of conspiracy theory, and especially with like in Africa in general, they say that like if the alien theory was actually true, that they visited, Africa, Egypt a lot more than they did any other part of the world, because that's where like everything originated.
I believe that part of the world in general sparked much. Well, like that was like at some point that was the epicenter, right?
Yeah, I mean that's where we're all from there at some point.
Okay, so you said that you would love to believe. Do you think it's more along the lines they were more advanced? Probably, right? Do you think that there was? And here's my question, real quick. Do you think that? Let's play real quick and for fun and pretend that they were way more advanced, and there was things like that we have they created as well, but it may be in a different manner, different technology. Because we'll get into what they think maybe they used.
It would have to be like laser etched to get as perfect as it is.
I told Vivi they had to have lasers. They had to fucking have.
But here's the thing, right?
They had to have freaking laser beams.
If they created these structures, they created these structures with limestone and granite because they know, and mortar, whatever, because they know that the longevity of it, right? Like it wasn't going to be able to be corroded.
I mean,
to the degree,
apparently so. Apparently so.
So the technology or whatever tools that they used to construct it, if we're assuming that it was human construction, then they would have used materials that have longevity. No. If we were able to excavate and uncover the pyramids the way that they are today, wouldn't there be some kind of remnants of a tool that they use?
Yeah, that's true, right? There's no remnants of a laser beam. Freaking laser beams
There's
go
no
away.
remnants of a laser beam, like the chisel and axe shit that we don't see them anywhere.
Yeah,
like,
they haven't found anything. There's no evidence. Like they haven't found. I'm sure they found chisels and axes, but like they haven't found things. If these are what they were supposedly using, then these are inadequate tools to be using them for what you're saying they use them for. Right? That you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And there would have to be some kind of...
there's theories. They say that there's a couple of them. Sound manipulation, right? They're saying that...
They use sonar to make these things?
No. They're saying that what they did was everything has a frequency at which it's disrupted and moved, right? Like your phone, when it vibrates, it moves across the table.
Yeah, but it's not like it falls apart.
You have a sneaker.
Splits into pieces.
You have a sneaker. I mean, not a sneaker. I have a speaker. Sorry.
Yes.
That's later. You have a speaker, and you're starting to play things at a certain level of, and certain things vibrate at a different level. So what they're saying is maybe they were able to use that to move it, to help move things, right? By sound manipulation, like you're just.
But again, you're going just 450 feet high. So how does it move like this?
These are working theories, right?
It's not a working theory. To me, it doesn't vibrate upwards.
No, I mean at least I don't know. Like so, they're saying that
because the slope, like they give information about the slope. I'm not that good at geometry, so I'm not going to get into it. But like the slope of it, right? I don't know. The base is pretty wide, I guess, but it's not like fucking.
There's not like it's basically like Adam's saying there's a formula of force you have to use to get up this slope.
Yes, and it doesn't make sense. It's pretty steep.
To me, it maybe can make sense in some sort of way that maybe you're able to split it. I don't know. Listen, I'm just going to throw it out there, but to me, there's got to be more than that at work because the scoop marks, the ability to like. There's another pyramid where everything is polygonal, right? The rocks. So nothing is the same, but they all fit as if they're puzzle pieces. The same way, no razor, you like almost perfectly. So the thing is, how do you cut things so perfectly, so geometrically right?
If they like dug and chipped into the ground instead of building them. Maybe, Dude, but like all the area around it would have to also still be chipped out, which doesn't make sense.
Sphinx, right?
Yeah.
The Sphinx, which they're saying has eroded, and it used to be like an actual dog face because they say the head is too small for the body.
Cat, right?
I don't know, whatever. The cat, whatever. But either way, it was like a larger face, right? And they say that it's
perfectly symmetrical.
It's broken. No. This one is broken down.
No, but it was like.
Yeah. But
perfectly
there's other evidences of that, but I'm saying like it's been eroded, and they say that it was reshaped to be like a pharaoh's face or something, just to restore it at some point. But they're saying it's too small for the body. But that's built into the limestone.
But see, that gets you into actual.
It's built into the rock.
That gets you into a whole.
You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, right? It's not carved and then put on like it's. Into the ground, like the pedestal is carved into the ground, right? You know what I'm saying? And then how you make perfect cuts into like rooms in underneath is even more crazy to me.
Well, that's the thing as well because we're talking about like that. That's why I'm telling you the symmetry is important here because you're also talking about if you look at the face, everything. I can't draw two eyes on a face on a paper that look perfectly good.
I can't draw at all, but it's impossible. No, you're right.
And literally all the features are like perfectly.
This dude, Ben Van Kerkwick, whatever, he's talking about how he went with engineers, building, like people who are like able to, like building engineers and things of that nature, where they're like, there's no way, like you can't do that without a proper technology, right? Because nobody, like his example is like people are like, oh, what about like the statue of David, right? Like Michelangelo. Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah, but that's not symmetrical. Right, that's human. Like that's built in a more humanistic or created in a more humanistic manner.
And it's also not 450 feet high and however wide the base. Like it's
humongous. Like how you make everything so like they're like it's impossible to do without technology. So like my theory and your theory probably is they had freaking laser beams.
But even then, like I have a hard time going with that too, just because
how did they
there's
get
no remnants of it anywhere.
How did they make it? Well, you're right. That's true. I don't know, but maybe we just haven't found it yet, or somehow maybe it was destroyed. I don't know.
I'll say this: I'm not
because
saying
Adam, how do you cut like straight through something?
I'm not saying that aliens were involved, but I'm also not sold on the fact that it was human work that went into this.
Do you think that they're alien ships, all of them?
Like they just parked them shits there and
they're just there and like that's their car. They've been here for a while.
They also were talking about the theory that humans were bigger, like Neanderthal
How
size.
fucking big do you have to be? I mean, I don't know.
You could be bigger if in terms of moving. Like if you really want to go with like the ramp and
how big are you talking
system, about? You got to be pretty big.
You 25 fucking feet big.
You gotta be fee fi fo fum.
Yeah, dude. There's no. I
gotta be Jolly Green Giant.
I think that is I honestly think that's a stupid. Because
I don't think it's stupid because there was.
You have to be gigantic.
There's theories of like actual evidence of humans being much smaller in certain places.
But there's also okay. So the only reason maybe there's somehow right because a lot of the things that go on in like religious texts, there's these fabled stories,
allegories.
Yeah, like a lot of them are like from different cultures connect. Like the about a great flood, right? They talk.
So there's like a big meeting. Like, there's put that in your book. I'll put this in mine.
So a great flood, right? That they're talking about. Like I forget the years it happened, and as we talk more about this, we'll probably have more and better numbers. But they're talking about like Chinese culture and in South America. Like all these cultures have like a story of a great flood at the same time that corroborate. There's a there's a sarcophagus that was made in Japan at the same time that there was made one in Egypt, and at this time there should be no connection between the two, right? Apparently there is no ability to communicate like that because they're, very stupid apparently, but they're the same thing, same exact fucking design, and it's not like it's like a crazy design.
Do you think that the pyramids themselves are actual lasers?
They could be. So there's a tunnel cut in, like a 6x6 like tunnel cut into one of them, right? Diagonally, as it like almost like as it was made, right? They just cut a hole through it that goes perfectly into a specific place, and it's perfect, like square, the whole way through. What could that be? I don't know. Are they harnessing sun power?
Like you would literally need excavation tools to even make tunnels. First of all, to cut the tunnels into limestone and granite.
Because they were stupid. They couldn't make dynamite.
And it's like, I guess I would be curious, and I'm sure that there's like maybe pictures or something like that, but like what it looks like when you go into the pyramid, right? Because
I think we gotta go.
It's just like solid rock the entire way, or is it like hollow to some degree?
No, of course it's dude. The part of the archaeological feat that they call it is because some of the aspects of like the tunnels, they're like perfectly cut tunnels, and
this isn't like the cartel tunnels with air conditioning and shit. You know?
They got like they made it, dude. They didn't cave in. They made it some sort of way where the foundational integrity is such that you're able to create these fucking tunnels that go into deeper and darker and further down little chambers. Not even little, gigantic probably when you go in them.
Yeah, it's mindfuck.
It is. I don't know. It could be aliens. It could be aliens. If aliens exist, maybe they left that here and they're like, you guys keep this shit. We're going to confuse the shit out of you in about 2,000 years.
It could have just been, and this sounds crazy, but like things fall from space and hit the Earth all the time.
That's another thing, dude. We are like...
Do you think that the pyramids could have just crash landed on Earth?
No.
Why not?
Crash landed.
Not like...
From wait.
Like a fucking asteroid falls through the...
Yeah, but is it like a ship?
Not a ship, but
it's
like...
just a rock that was perfectly formed with 2.3 million other rocks together?
I don't know.
I don't think that's the way. I don't think that's the one.
It's not like we've disassembled and saw that it's completely like each individual block in there. We haven't took it apart. So who knows? Maybe they carved grooves into it to give it an aesthetic. I don't know, but
no, I don't think.
All I'm saying is,
I don't think that's the one.
I think the theory that you literally took fucking thousands of rocks and put them together and created a pyramid. Why a pyramid?
You got me. But I do think. Okay, so here's what
I'm not ruling out any theories.
Here's what I'll say. I don't think it's just like an asteroid that fell. If it's anything, it might be like an abandoned like alien ship that fell.
But there would be some kind of technology
about
rockets,
honestly,
about how it
honestly
moves.
I debate you on this. I don't think it's a rock that fell to Earth.
I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying it could be.
I don't think it could be. That's where I'd say we.
So you think that the theory that a human fucking cavalry put this together?
So that I think that term demeans probably what they were. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think probably.
I'm not trying to demean anything
I think
about what they
probably
were.
no. I think probably they were way more advanced than we can even consider. So, like, let me give you this analogy, right? They say that the flood that occurred, the waves and the magnitude of at which the Earth just filled with fucking water, right, and it destroyed everything in its path, is like an unfathomable, like a like display of power. Like we can't even the biggest thing we could possibly think of. It's way bigger than that. It's way faster than that. It's way more of a snap thing. So I don't know that.
I also have a problem with some of the information that's available about it. How the fuck do they know it took them 27 years to do it?
I don't.
How do they know specifically that there's
Again,
the composition, like how many tons of each rock? How do they know specifically? You didn't take it apart.
Well, I don't know. That one, I think there's different ways they do that. But for me, I think most of the information that is like, again, the scholars agree on, the ones that I don't know why, but they don't really like for you to find new information. And again, I think it's because it puts a scar on what they've done a lot of their career.
That's just how life works. Like when we learn new information, then we get rid of what we had prior.
We should. But they see
that's why
they talk about how archaeological things like this.
And let's not just pretend like there's only scientists who started originally discovering those things. Like there's every day new scientists are coming into the world and trying to figure things out. So like you build on what did Joe Budden say? You learn from the acts that came before you, right?
Yeah.
So, this is what we know so far. Let me prove this to be true or prove this to be untrue. We did that with Einstein's theories through the fucking years.
There's a saying, right? And it's kind of I'm gonna fuck it up. It's crude, and how I'm gonna say it's probably gonna make it even more so. But essentially, there's going to be more with every funeral or every like older like person within the field that passes away, there's an advancement that occurs, right? Advancement occurs within every funeral, right? Not necessarily saying like but like with think about
so every time an old theory of thought
that's unwilling to kind of.
Which is why all those old fucks in Congress need to leave the earth so that we can get new, more modern ideas.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. You know, but so that's kind of how that goes. And unfortunately, because like they say that, you know, archaeologists or that the field in general isn't like one that's like a typical science,
but
right? Where there's like, you know, control, hypothesis,
but the population of scientists, they marvel at new discovery. That's part of what makes you a scientist, right? Like your quest for knowledge, your quest for answering questions. That's
to assume we don't live in a world where pride doesn't exist.
Yeah, but pride can exist.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I say by that?
I feel you, but like again, it's like we wouldn't have advancement at all if it wasn't for the fact that.
But luckily, we live in a time where now social media at least allows these guys who have alternative theories that make more sense, right? Like, I guess if you knew better, you do better, and when you learn, you do, right? That kind of a thing. But I guess unfortunately now, like you said, there's a lot of these older guys who are unwilling, right? They don't want to bend, break, or fold. They think their life's work means nothing then, possibly, if they couldn't have.
Or there's pride in like, hey, I laid the groundwork for that. It's great that you made that discovery, but you made it on the back of my.
I think it's just a narcissistic thing of being a human, right? Like, we don't want to believe that these people that we have labeled as like hunter-gatherer people back then for so long could have possibly actually been way more advanced a society than we were.
So the question is really where what type of people the ancient Egyptians were, what their actual I don't know what the right phrasing is for this, but basically like what their knowledge bag looked like, you know.
That had to be crazy, because they're talking about like molecular manipulation, right? Like, and listen, I know these are words. You guys don't know those words. I know words, okay? I know words.
Why say a lot of words when few words do trick?
Exactly. But like they're talking about how like maybe softening the material or the rock, right? To remove it or to shape it in some sort of way. These are all far-fetched, but you know what, man? Honestly, when you really think about the whole process of the pyramids, it's extremely far-fetched. Okay?
Well, there's like you can't break it down.
The further we go into it, the more you think like now you go into even a deeper rabbit hole where you start to look at the fact that there's pyramids in other places, and I think a lot of them align geographically. Right, like I'm gonna look it up, but I think there's a few. There's
if you look at it from an aerial perspective, do they make a design of some sort?
like another triangle,
Another pyramid.
a pyramid that would fucking blow my mind, man.
Blew my fucking mind, man.
But like this stuff is like super interesting to me. I could talk about it forever just because of like, I don't know. There's so many theories you could think about with it. Like, I don't know. Like I do like it, like what you wrote on the board. Did they have better tech than us? I like obviously as somebody who has whatever knowledge of it, believe based on the evidence that, you know what, probably.
But here's why I have an issue with that. I can't go with that theory because, I mean, listen, we find dinosaur fossils still. You know what I mean? Like there's evidence of things that existed before us, and that's how we know that they existed. So the pyramids exist. We know that they exist.
So are you saying that there's a possibility that aliens came, built it, and dipped?
I'm not even necessarily saying aliens. I'm just saying like
think,
the theory that it was.
What if they were okay? Here's my story. What if aliens are traveling through the universe? Right, they're on a joyride. I don't know what song it's in my head, but it's just like right. And then let's say like, oh shit, my engine's puttering. So they fly down in the earth. He crash lands. They're like, dude, I can't fix this shit, right? And then for some reason, it's like, all right, we'll jump in my whip. We'll go. So they left 7 pyramids in Egypt.
They just left them in space. And they flew and crash landed.
Right, and then they left.
But why do they all land right there? Just all right.
Right, they all. And then they only took one guy's, and then they were all cramped in.
And then that's why there's a couple, because a couple thousand years later, they landed in other parts of the world after they fell out of orbit.
This is like a far-fetched version of it, but like so like why is it so your basic argument that you don't think they were more technologically advanced is that we don't find anything?
I would believe that if they were more technologically advanced, that there would be some kind of evidence of it.
Did you hear about the vases? There's granite, actual vases and like pottery made of granite, right? Mm-hmm. Perfect. I mean, like symmetrically perfect, 100%, and like as thin as like I would assume like a quarter would be, or like a nickel, like super thin, perfectly. Right, and there's one that's like kind of cracked, so they can show how thin it is. But how you make these things, the inside, carving the inside out of it perfectly, forming it outside perfectly. How do you do these things?
There's other things like that I've had questions about for a long time, like Petra, for instance. Right, they call it the Stone City.
But I think that rock is different.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's the Stone City, and it literally is like.
I mean, it's perfect almost.
But it's like. You literally everything is carved into the stone. That's how everybody lived. You know what I mean? Like it's just weird. Like a lot of this shit. Obviously, they didn't have the same kind of lumber industry we have today, where you can just put a bunch of 2x4s and make your frame work, and then throw a bunch of drywall all over it. And
it will seem it does appear that ancient folks preferred to just either build stone things that last millennia, literally. Or just straight into the rock. This is where we'll live. I'm just going to carve into here. Dad, how will you do that? Haha. It's funny. Some people in thousands of years will ask the same question. And then they hit all of the shit. They burned it. They melted it.
There would still be
maybe it was in their hands. Maybe they were magicians.
They practiced the black arts.
Maybe they were cyclops.
Like pyramid.
Maybe the X-Men could definitely build the pyramids.
Yes, probably because they had superpowers.
I mean, so think about it. Like Cyclops can
All you
cut.
needed was Magneto.
Cyclops can cut it.
And Professor X.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like they're just moving shit, with their fucking heads. You got like Beast to help place it in places like you need it to be. Cyclops cuts shit. Wolverine, I don't know how useful he is in this. He's pretty strong, but I don't know that he's like lift a stone and throw it strong.
Yeah, there's a few of them that don't really have many things that matter.
Rogue, or no, Jubilee might be able to like split the rocks because she goes like.
Well, then why do you need Cyclops? So you get double fast?
maybe, dude. I think, but there's evidence that might suggest maybe Superman existed. Maybe
Superman exists, and that's where he was at.
Maybe
that's Krypton.
Maybe the mutants all existed back then.
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot of it that just doesn't add up.
It doesn't.
Which I guess is like the core of this whole thing to begin with. Side note, I need to stop watching The Office because I just want to like quote everything that I think I'm gonna get like a whole what's it called, the pad of just Creed quotes. It's like the Taliban are the worst. Great heroin though.
No,
I don't know why I thought about that.
We definitely got to come up with different banks. All right, so listen, I was listening to something. They were talking about the number 43200, right? Noah was 600 years old when the flood came, and 600 times 72 is 43,200. 72 is the number of hidden names of God in Judaism, and were used by Moses to part the Red Sea. The number of years it takes the earth to complete 1 degree of precession is 72, as 72 times 600 is 43,200. So they're talking about, like, I think that refers to to the flood, right? And in different places, like there a lot of like the story of Moses and some of these other things they talk about, like they're like, well, that might be the explanation for this story, right? Like, oh, the part in the Red Sea. Well, there was a point where the flood did this and that, and you were able to walk across this land, and you get what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like you start to come up with explanations.
But all of those things are just like, the way they make them sound is that they were like instant things that happened, and I think nothing. I don't think anything happened.
You shall not pass.
I don't think anything happened that instantly, because if you look at a lot of the things, like first of all, Pangea, right? As the continental drift began, that shit has been happening for thousands and
it still
millions
is.
And
It's still, that's why the Himalaya.
Yes.
That's why
eventually we're gonna like come back to the other side, and
they
be
say
touching again.
Everest is still growing because of the tectonic plate still going. But no, there's
currently a new ocean forming in the middle of Africa right now.
You are currently misspeaking though, because some things are instantaneous, right? Like if an asteroid were to hit us, like a large one, like continent killer, right? Like they call it, what is that 99% extinction, whatever. Mm-hmm. If it were to hit, how much time do you think we'd have before we were dead?
I don't know.
Not very long. It would hit, they say like 45,000, and again, kilometers per hour, right? That is fast as fuck, boy. It's fast as fuck.
That's fine, but it also.
So
I mean, you're talking about how big it is, where it hits.
So okay, so listen.
What was the next chain of events that occur afterwards?
If it hits the ocean, right? What it does is displace so much of that water, right? That's when they say that mile-high wave that's coming at what's the word I want to use? Fucking crazy rate of speed, right? Through the land.
But see, you're talking theoretically right now.
No, this is what they said happened. There's proof for, like the what you were talking about in Africa with the like the wave like create, what do they call them, like not structures but like formations in the sand and on the land. They're talking about like this is because water had receded at a certain point. So that means that the water rushed over the fucking lands. They're talking about there's salt deposits on the top of mountains in like some of the places, I guess, I don't know if the Sahara or whatever.
And obviously it's very devastating, but clearly not everybody was affected because we're here today.
Well, some. I was watching Joe Rogan. He was like, "Can you imagine the people that were left over? They must have been fucking savages." Like you got to think about that shit. Like they call it a 90. It's happened to our planet. My assumption is maybe the pyramids have been left over for years. I'm talking about long time because there's evidence. I know we're running low on time. You guys are about to get a lot of this from us. There's evidence that there's human beings like as far back as like 800,000 years ago now, which they didn't. They said civilized society began civilization began like 6,000 years ago is what they talk about, right? Like civilization in terms of like I guess maybe splitting from not being Neanderthal like of people. Okay, so now think about that. How many times have there been a civilization on Earth that's achieved maybe close to or further beyond what we've achieved? How many times do you think that's occurred? Do you think there's a possibility that there's been countless civilizations that have been wiped out?
Certainly a possibility.
I
mean, there's a mad examples of like places that exist on the world today that were built on top of old ancient cities.
Like on top of old pyramids in Mexico and things like that.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. They talk about like there's
that's why I'm saying like the lost city of Atlantis. Probably just you got to find it.
There's water. Yeah, that's another big thing. There's water water has risen, right? Because for whatever reason, water has risen, and there's there's places that were that are probably in the ocean that we don't even know because of how high the water rate has risen.
The world is a mystery.
It's a crazy fucking place, man. And this stuff is like interesting to me. And
that's part of where I would also go with the pyramids is like, maybe some prehistoric animal, not prehistoric, but I guess whatever, like ancient animals that they might have had that were bigger.
Dude, I mean,
they were stronger.
They talk about the idea that
more domesticatable, like, you had obviously maybe not elephants, maybe something bigger than an elephant, maybe something
woolly mammoths.
Well, yeah, but,
woolly mammoths, not Willy.
Then maybe
Willy Mammoth.
maybe a big ass fucking strong.
That what you would call? That would be my porn name, Willy Mammoth.
Maybe like a big strong bird.
Don't steal that.
Maybe like a big strong bird of some sort.
A big strong bird.
Yeah,
big bird. What up, big bird?
Good Lord.
Good Lord, that's a big ass bird.
I know you wonder how do I have a conversation with him at all. I have no idea.
But no, like
there's like it's not tools. I don't think tools is what we should be looking for in to explain this.
So they had some sort of mind manipulation. They had the ability to do.
No. I'm not saying that either. I'm saying something that like I'm on the theory of like some kind of animal that was able to assist them in this.
That's fully able to articulate.
Not articulate, but move them. Like you. Carving the rocks is one thing. Moving them and building.
So we got to get to moving. In order to get to moving, you got to cut. So let's break it down in that way. In order to get to moving, you got to cut first. How did you cut them? Where do we go? How do we do that?
I don't know, but I feel like that's easier to explain than it is to move them and build the thing.
It's easier to explain how to cut them perfectly
than to move it and build it.
You
into
heard what
a
I said. You can
beat. Structure?
They talk about the hammer they use being like, I don't know the particular term for it, but it's like a 10-pound hammer.
That's fine.
And you can beat granite for like an hour. Just beat the shit out, and there's like dust.
That's perfectly fine. All I'm saying is, it's easier to
how
fathom
how they scoop it.
It's easier to fathom how
they scoop it like it was poop.
Can you shut up?
I need answers.
It's easier to fathom how they would have carved it than it is to explain how they would have lifted it and put it 450 feet.
Do you not feel like those are equally unable? Like you can't explain them?
No. All right. I do not feel that way.
Well, then I would like your theory on how they move them without. So no lasers because
the moving part is what we're talking about. Yeah.
Do you think they could shoot lasers out of their fingers?
I don't think that they.
Dude, they were X-Men. I just see people floating like fucking Cyclops.
They were fucking the Avengers, like
maybe.
I don't know.
We're not the hero they want. We're the hero they need.
Yeah, man. Unless it's like Professor Xavier, fucking just kind of pulling everything together,
dude.
But which wouldn't take 27 years, so that theory also goes out the water.
Yeah, that would be quick. Be quick. I don't know, man. We do have to kind of wrap it up for the day, but because I didn't turn it on anyway. But yeah, this is like a topic that's on my mind lately. Like I really kind of am really interested in figuring out what possibly could have happened. And obviously that's beyond my pay grade, but you know what, man, like it's interesting enough to kind of ponder it a little bit and really try to.
I wonder what like the melting point of limestone is. Maybe they did it through melting and forming, and then it solidified.
All right, well, let's just look that up. Ow. Oh, shit.
I do that all the time on this fucking desk.
All right. Melting point of limestone.
Because if you're going to...
1,517 degrees Fahrenheit.
Do they have dragons?
Well, that's not how they did it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? If certain things to manipulate them, you have to melt them. Glass.
They didn't have steel back then, right? They talk about they had copper. So that's what they're saying. This is what they say. This is and we can probably wrap it and maybe come back. But they say that the way they cut it was they got like a copper, a piece of copper, sand and water, and they just back and forth try to cut it like that. They said
that would take 27 years. Never mind a building of construction part.
They got like 2 inches down. Like I think they've tried it, and they still haven't gone. That's about as far as they've gotten. They're not able to do it. With every theory of how they say that they were able to cut things, it's unrealistic.
I'm going to explore my own theory of melting it. I feel like that's more fathomable than cutting it.
Do you think? Okay, so
how did they produce?
Do you
that
think
heat
they had a big bowl, right? A mold, like an ice cube mold, if you will.
Maybe instead of lasers.
And then they just like poured liquid granite, and it just froze back.
No.
I don't understand though.
Maybe instead of lasers, you know how like if you use a magnifying glass and you use the sun.
No, the sun was closer back then.
Do you know where they're at?
Yeah,
it's not like we're here.
Yeah, but that's
like
still not close enough. That's still not close enough. I mean, like the sun was right there.
But what are you talking about? There's not close enough. You have no actual ability to say that. Well, that's just you saying that.
You mean the equators? Yeah, the sun's hotter at the equator for sure.
Yeah, they're in Egypt.
I don't.
That's anywhere near what we're doing here.
I don't know. Everything I would say they needed to make the pyramids comes with the pyramid. Like you would need I don't know.
I think that it's very fathomable to me. I would have to have it debunked, whatever. But like to be able to have the concentration of light to make your little laser theory work.
Yeah, but that would take a lot.
27 years.
I don't know. Listen, I can't say anything's impossible. I just don't know that. All I know is what they say is
it's impossible that they moved it through brute force.
Yeah.
That's what
it's just not happening. Like how did they there's actual places in mountains like in these quarries where they found the rock that corresponds to that part.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
Without dying everybody.
Sure, mad people probably did die.
Maybe that's where they went. They finished it, and the last guy was just like, yeah, and he fell off the pyramid, and that was the end of them.
I mean, they if you're going under the theory of their primitiveness, they didn't even have shoes.
And you know what? Right, they couldn't be smart enough for shoes. They say that because it's been looted and pillaged over years, right? Because different civilizations have inhabited that place or have come across it, and so they said there's probably plenty of things that we wouldn't even know were there because of the fact that somebody's come along and taken it and moved it elsewhere or removed evidence of things that would have definitely helped bridge the gap. Well, that being said,
yeah. Look at us staying on topic today.
Yeah, man, we're going to continue this.
Yeah.
And just in case you didn't know, the reason we have this song here is because you don't know who the fuck we be.
Yeah. We are Kasson Ave. You know what I mean? Thank you all for tuning in. We do appreciate you. Hopefully, the conversation of the pyramids intrigued you the same way it does us.
Yeah, let us know if this is a cool ass conversation that you might enjoy more of, because I think we might go ahead and dive a little further in these type of things.
I don't think we're going to talk about the pyramids every week going forward, but we will have like a set topic that we kind of explore more. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Please go ahead and hit subscribe, tell your friends and whatnot. And that was episode 177. Stick around if you're one of them sneaker people, because we do have a new segment.
Stick around. He means keep an eye out for.
Now stick around. All right, man.
Later.